Good morning, everybody. It is June 1st. I'm Karen Canfield from the Board of Selectmen. I'm here with our town administrator, Jim Bedreau, and before I turn it over to him to update us on a long list of town issues, I want to take a moment and just acknowledge that we are now in week 12 of the mandated stay-at-home emergency measures, and we are all weary and we are all tired. And given the events that have occurred over the last few days, it has made that situation worse. And it is that spirit that I want to make sure that we acknowledge that we had a group of protesters this weekend standing at the Rotary, and they were principled, they were respectful, and they were peaceful. And in that spirit, we acknowledge their concerns. And I want to thank them for that. And I very much want to make sure that we thank our Scituate Police Department and our town administrator, Jim Bedreau, because they went down and they were above and beyond to make sure that the protesters were safe, that they were heard, and they were respected. And we can't thank them enough for their service to our community in that vein. This Thursday, June 4th, our Chief of Police, Mike Stewart, will be retiring. And Jim Bedreau has been working 24/7 for the last 12 weeks to serve our community. And the board and the community wants to make sure that they're acknowledged and that they're thanked for their commitment to this town. And with that, I would turn it over to Jim and hear what else is in store for the town this week.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. And again, the protesters yesterday were very respectful for the most part. I spoke to a lot of them, some spirited conversations with some of them, and I think the way we left it is, let's sit down and talk. Let's talk about your concerns. Let's talk about what you want. Let's talk about what we can do to affect some of the change that you're talking about. And I think we've opened up that channel of communication. I know Deputy Thompson, soon to be Chief Thompson, had the same message. So they were great. We put some barrels down there. They cleaned everything up when they were done. They were very respectful. They kept it safe. So I think they have some more scheduled. And we asked them just to respect other people and respect the community and keep it safe and keep it respectful. And we're hearing what they say. They are absolutely right. What happened in Minneapolis is completely undefensible. We've heard them. We want to talk to them some more, and we want to keep them safe while they're continuing to spread their message. So kudos to them, and we hope that they keep spreading the message in a safe and peaceful manner.
And I have to say it again, thank you for your leadership through all this, and to Chief Thompson and soon-to-be Chief Thompson and Chief Stewart.
Soon-to-be Chief Thompson, yeah. I mean, I wish we could give Mike a little bit better send-off than just going out the door, but we'll have a very good transition. The new leadership team is going to be outstanding with Chief Thompson, Deputy Chief Steverman, and we're in the process of backfilling those other leadership positions. But Mike has left the department in very good shape. He's left a deputy that is completely qualified and ready to take over and then ready to take the next step with that department. So I will miss Mike, but I'm excited to see Mark take over and see where we go with the department from here. So on to the weekend. Busy weekend for COVID-19 in Scituate. Again, we talk about the Scituate cases, which are specific Scituate addresses, and then we talk about the nursing home cases. We had 4 additional Scituate cases over the weekend. Only one was what we would consider a new case that we were not aware of, or we did not know where the germination of that case came from. Unfortunately, we had 12 new cases in the nursing homes, 10 of those at the Life Care Center, which brings them way over 60 out of a population of just over 90 at the Life Care Center, and 2 additional at Cardigan, which brings us up to about 10 for Cardigan. I know, Karen, you've gotten some calls from people saying those numbers are higher. Our numbers are always going to lag because they are doing their own testing. They get their testing results back. They have to report those to the state. The state has to put them into the system, and then we get them. So there's always going to be a lag behind from what their numbers are telling them and what we're getting. But Drew does talk to them almost on a daily basis to see what's going on. It's just a difficult situation in the nursing homes all across the state. So we will continue to monitor that, do what we can to help, but the state is aware of it.
They're doing your own testing, you said? They're not getting support from outside?
They're doing their own testing.
Okay.
So I know in the case of the Life Care Center, they're using an ambulance company that's coming in and doing it. So they're not doing it literally themselves, but they're having someone come in and do
Okay,
it.
but they have the resources to keep up with the testing.
So far, they're testing everybody. Everybody who tests negative is being tested on a regular basis, and that's why their numbers keep going up.
Okay.
The, I guess, exciting news is right now we are on schedule for Phase 2 of the governor's reopening plan to start next Monday, June 8th. The numbers, right now we are trending between 6 and 8% of the testing coming back positive, which is way down from 20 to 25%, which we were seeing before. That is still down. It has not trended down the last couple of days. It has stayed in that 6 to 8% range. But it's better than it was, and it's still moving, we hope, in the right direction. The exciting part about Phase 2, I think, is that restaurants will be able to open on a limited basis. Outside seating will be allowed at first. Specific guidelines are out there. They mirror the guidelines for everything else. Masks when you come in and out, masks if you go to the bathroom, inside. At least 6 feet of separation, constant cleaning, constant hand washing. When you go into the restaurant, there will be no utensils on the table. Everything we brought to you clean. So it will be a challenge, I think, for our restaurants to meet some of these requirements. I know you and I have talked. We have some ideas what we think will help the restaurants, but we're having a conversation with them right after this to see what they want. I don't want a restaurant, so I'd like to hear what their ideas are. I've seen on social media the idea of closing Front Street. That is something that is under consideration, closing that for a period of time. But again, I think you and I want to hear from them what they need as opposed to us telling them what we think they need. So that conversation will take place again this morning, and then we will have some more updates for people. I don't even know if we'll wait till next Thursday to tell them kind of what our plan is once we have it together. Also opening, nail salons, tattoo parlors, if you want to go have your nails done and get a tattoo, spas and things like that. Again, very heavily regulated. Car dealerships, you can go into the car dealerships again for browsing on a limited basis, test drives on a limited basis. Motels, hotels, again, opening, very strict guidelines. If people want to look at the guidelines, they can go to mass.gov/DPH. Just one more word on the restaurants. Currently, there's a very complicated process under state law to allow a liquor license holder to go from a completely indoor restaurant to have outside seating. The state is considering ways to ease that restriction. I have a couple ideas how we can work around that on an interim basis, but we're hoping the state does give us some clarity on that to give the restaurant owners a little break. Right now, if you have indoor seating, you want outdoor seating, it requires a filing with the selectmen, a public hearing, and then approval from DPH. By the time you get that, the summer's going to be over. So there is a couple things we can do for restaurants. There's a couple things that I think we can do to make that easier and have it happen in the short term. But it would be better if the state took legislative steps to give us that. I know it's being considered, but they're going to have to do something sooner rather than later if it's going to be of any use to us. So people should stand by. Hopefully we'll have some updates in the next day or two about what outdoor dining in Scituate is going to look like starting next week.
Great.
A reminder from our water department, our water usage is up tremendously this year. People are home. We understand that. They're not going to work. They're home all day. Last year for the month of June, we had 4 days where the water treatment plant exceeded 1 million gallons a day. This year, in May alone, we had 7 straight days where the water treatment plant exceeded 1 million gallons a day. That's a lot of water early for us. I want to remind people that outdoor watering must occur either before 9 a.m. or after 5 p.m. Automatic irrigation systems can only be used 1 day a week based upon your precinct. You can go to the town website and the water department page and find out when your precinct can water. We're asking people to cooperate. We're asking people to conserve water. If the water usage continues, just like everything else we've talked about, we will then have to go to enforcement. Fines are up to $100 a day for violation. So it's our most precious commodity. We ask you to conserve it so we have it later on. We're using a lot of water very early. Luckily, the reservoirs are in good shape, but if we keep using water at this rate, that's not going to last forever unless it continues to rain. Beaches, I got down to Peggotty Beach on Saturday. I probably got down to about 2:30, 3 o'clock. I pulled into the parking lot and thought, oh man, this is not going to be good. The parking lot was pretty much full. When I drove out around the corner and went to the overlook and looked back on the beach, really, people are really doing their best to social distance. I was pleasantly surprised at how people were doing. The police went to all the beaches. I got a report from them. The same thing. Peggotty was the most crowded. The other beaches were crowded. People are trying to social distance. The Spit on Saturday was also pretty good. I spoke to both the harbor master's office. I got a report from our marine unit that the Spit people were doing pretty well, and mostly families, and they were spread out. So that's great. If you continue to do that, we'll be in good shape. You do look at the beach and say, that looks like it's bigger than a family group. It looks like it might be a couple families, but we're not going to go down there and tell you you need to space out. You need to break up. There's too many people here. The police will keep an eye on the beaches, and we will take a look. We still have some issues with the younger people in town congregating, the younger people in town violating the regulations by playing with a football, things like that. We'll deal with those on a case-by-case basis, but I think people right now are doing a fairly good job meeting the requirements and what's going on at the beach, and we'll keep monitoring that. Lifeguards start June 15th, so we have 2 more weeks, and then the lifeguards will be out. And that'll give us a little better everyday look at what's going on the beaches. They will be very soft in saying, hey, you're not supposed to be doing this, or you need to social distance. And if people are disrespectful to lifeguards, just as we do now, the lifeguards not escalate, and we have a crew to get out and talk to people. So we're hoping we don't have to do that. But when the lifeguards get out there, again, we'll get a better look at what's happening on a daily basis. But thank you, people of Scituate. You're doing a good job so far. Please keep it up.
On that note, Jim, I want to just remind people, the lifeguards are there to watch the water. They're not there to watch the beach. I mean, they're an extra set of eyes for safety, but we want to make sure that they're not distracted. It's not going to be their job to enforce all the COVID-19 regulations. If they see a particularly egregious violation, then they will have to address it again, very softly, very respectfully, and then if there's no, they will just kick it up to someone. Yeah, I saw the same thing. I walked the beach in North Scituate this weekend, and people were mindful. They were very mindful, and that was really good to see.
Yeah. So so far right now, parking lots are going to be open, beaches are going to be open, and as long as people continue to comply, it'll remain that way. I know I've seen some reports from other towns where it has not been like that. So far, Scituate's been doing pretty good. So thank you to everybody, and let's keep that up. Yeah. Starting today, the transfer station is asking residents to separate their cardboard and paper when you come in. There'll be separate bins there for you to do so. Again, the reason for that is improves the quality of our waste stream, which makes our waste more valuable, which in turn reduces the disposal cost of the residents of the town. So to the best of your ability, please separate your cardboard and paper and follow the signs in doing that. The town election is June 13th. We'll keep telling people that, reminding them. We ask you to try and use the early voting. ScituateMA.gov, town clerk's webpage, you can get an application. Or to the right of the front door of the town hall, when you look at the building, there are applications posted on the door. You can grab one, fill it out, and we'll get a ballot out to you as quickly as possible.
When do you think the last day is reasonable for somebody to be able to do the turnaround?
I'd say probably a week.
Another week? Okay.
Yeah. I'll check with the town clerk for Thursday's update, but I'd say probably a week out.
Okay. There is some talk of a candidate forum being put together for this week because it's been hard for people to get to know the folks that are running. So stay tuned for that. It hasn't been put together yet. Hopefully that'll happen this week.
Yeah, I got to say it's been, with everything else, it's just been a different campaign season and a different spring. So I feel bad for the candidates that they haven't really had a chance to get out there and make their cases to the voters the way they normally would. So hopefully some sort of forum will at least let the voters get an idea of what the different candidates stand for and what they would bring to Scituate. I wish them all good luck, but it's been bizarre. It really has been. I know everybody out there knows that, but it's just really trying to have an election in a COVID-19 quarantine has been challenging. I think both for the candidates and for the clerk's office. So we do really urge people to try to vote early to avoid having to go into the election facility on election day. Town meeting is currently scheduled for next week. We will be postponing that again. Currently, discussions with the town moderator and the town clerk, we are thinking of moving town meeting to the football stadium on a Saturday, June 27th, which is the last Saturday in the month, and doing it in the morning. In the morning, we avoid the heat of the day. We avoid the mosquitoes at night. So that's where our plan is right now. I think Jim Toomey has not completely made his decision. I'll talk to him today or tomorrow. We'll have a definitive answer for people on Thursday. But I would say right now, town meeting will be on the Saturday, the 27th at 9 o'clock in the morning at the football stadium, so we can have sufficient social distancing. The plan at this point, and I'll be sending it out to the board probably later this week, would be that only those items of an immediate nature would be taken up. A lot of those would still be on the consent agenda. Obviously, things like the budget, the capital budget, would be open for debate for people to talk about. But we'll put a bunch of things on the consent agenda, and then we will have another agenda that I'm calling the postpone agenda, where we will postpone all the other articles and move them to a future town meeting. Right now, that'll be in the fall, but again, we don't know what's going to happen with COVID. But we want to get in and out of town meeting as quickly as possible to limit the amount of time people are there while still getting the business done that we need to do. So more on that will come. Probably we'll have a long discussion about that next week at the Board of Selectmen's meeting. But right now, the plan is Saturday, the 27th, 9 o'clock at the high school. Finally, I hate to end on a bad note, but I will. Property taxes are due today. It's the last day to pay your taxes. The board pushed that date back a month from May 1st to June 1st. Again, I thank all the people who have paid their taxes. We're about 96% collected as of this morning. Those people who are paying their taxes today, thank you. I appreciate everybody who paid them. If you have a problem paying your taxes on issue, you just need to get in touch with the treasurer's office and talk to her about what your options are at this point. But we need those taxes to keep running our business, to keep running police and fire, to keep providing services for people. So thank you if you've already paid your taxes. If you haven't, please get them in, and we'll go from there. So that's what I have for today. Thanks, everybody. Again, we'll end with wash your hands, keep your mouth covered if you're outside, and if you're sick, stay home. That's still the directions we're getting from DPH, CDC, and pretty much every level of government.
Thank you, Jim. One question about the restaurants is, we'll be getting guidance from the governor at some point as far as whether the 8th is the right date, or is that coming up this week?
Yeah, it's going to have to. And I'm going to think it's going to have to come sooner rather than later. If you know any restaurant owners, a couple of the calls I've been on last week, one of the gentlemen was on actually the restaurant task force that was advising the governor. And the restaurant owners are saying, we don't have anything. There's no food, there's no booze, there's nothing. We need enough lead time to get stuff back in here, and it's getting hard to get. So you need to give us enough time, governor, government, to order food, to order drinks, to get our staff back. You can't tell us on Sunday, yeah, tomorrow's the day, and expect us to open back up. So they want it as quickly as possible. I think the governor will try to do it as quickly as possible. It's really going to be that data. What's the percentage of people testing positive from the total number of tests? And as long as that stays low and trends down, then yes, Monday will be the date. But I'm hoping Wednesday at the latest we'll get an idea so that those restaurant owners can make plans. We can make plans, do what we have to do. We'll have to have a selectmen's meeting to do whatever we're going to do to allow outside seating. And again, I have a couple of ideas what the board can do, but they would still have to vote it. I don't have the authority, even under the emergency declaration, to just wave my magic wand and say, yes, restaurants can serve alcohol outside. So the sooner we get that, the better off everybody's going to be.
Okay, great. And I know I've spoken to some board members, and everyone is on board to do whatever we can to support our local businesses. I've spoken, and other members of the town hall have spoken to restaurant owners. If we haven't heard from you and you have ideas, please reach out to the selectman's office so that we can start working with you and be in preparing for reopening. Just a couple other things. Today at 11 o'clock, there's a webinar being hosted by the Scituate Chamber and the Scituate Love Local campaign with Senator O'Connor and Representative Kearney to hear about state resources to assist small businesses as we transition to more openings. There'll be another webinar. There's a series of webinars that are going to be announced shortly, all geared to providing education and resources to help our small businesses get up and running again. So look at the Chamber and the Scituate Love Local sites for that information. It will all be part of this new campaign that this week you'll be seeing yard signs and banners and information that will launch this campaign. So look for that. The last thing that I have is I wanted to just again thank all of our essential workers and all of our frontline workers. It's pretty scary in the nursing homes, and these people are showing up every day, and our grocery workers have been showing up every day, and our pharmacists who are helping everybody. So happy birthday to Patty, who's a pharmacist on the front lines, and everybody enjoyed this beautiful June day, and we'll see you on Thursday.